Never imagined the man I married would one day look at me with such disgust. When I first met Jason, he was charming, full of dreams, and always talking about building a life together. He would tell me I was his queen, that together we could face anything. But years later, that same man spat words that shattered me. "I'm not going to support a fat, lazy woman like you." It wasn't just an insult. It was a knife through my soul. I had gained weight after losing our baby. Depression had eaten away at my energy, and food became my comfort. Jason, instead of holding me, began pulling away. He spent more time at work, coming home late, always with an excuse. I tried everything to win him back. I cooked his favorite meals, dressed up even when I didn't feel beautiful, and smiled through the pain. But the more I tried, the colder he became. One night, after yet another argument, he sneered, "You sit around all day doing nothing while I work my life away." That night, I cried until my pillow was soaked. He didn't know I had just inherited my late uncle's estate, a $7 million fortune and ownership of a successful logistics company. My uncle had been a silent investor, and I was his only heir. The documents were still being processed, and I hadn't told Jason yet. Maybe it was fate, because that very night, while Jason slept soundly beside me, I made a decision. I would stop begging for love from a man who couldn't see my worth. I would let him reveal who he truly was. And when he did, I'd show him who I had become. Over the next few weeks, I quietly prepared for the transfer of ownership. The company Jason worked for, Steel Line Freight, was the same one my uncle had invested in. By a twist of fate, my inheritance gave me controlling shares in the company. I met with the board discreetly. When I walked into the office for the first time, everyone greeted me with respect. "Mrs. Thompson, congratulations on your new role as majority owner." The irony wasn't lost on me. My husband had spent years bragging about his job, about how he ran things in the office. Now, without him knowing, I was the one in charge. At home, Jason's behavior worsened. He started belittling me in front of his friends. Once, at dinner, when I tried to join their conversation about investments, he laughed and said, "What would you know about business? You can't even run a home properly." His friends laughed along. I just smiled. Inside, I was done. My pain had turned into quiet power. I wasn't the broken woman he thought I was. I was the woman who held his paycheck in her hands. The company's first board meeting under my ownership was on a Friday morning. I knew Jason would be there. He worked as a mid-level manager. I walked into the boardroom wearing a tailored navy suit, my hair styled perfectly. Jason froze when he saw me. "Sweetheart, what are you doing here?" he stammered. I looked straight into his eyes and said, "Running the meeting." The board chairman announced, "Everyone, please welcome our new majority owner, Mrs. Cassandra Thompson." You could have heard a pin drop. Jason's mouth opened, but no sound came out. For the first time in years, I didn't feel small or unworthy. I felt powerful. After that day, everything changed. Jason tried to act like nothing had happened. He came home with flowers, cooked dinner, and even apologized for being harsh. But I wasn't fooled. He wasn't sorry for hurting me. He was scared. At work, he tried to keep a low profile, but word spread quickly. Everyone knew the new boss was the wife he had disrespected. Some whispered behind his back, others avoided him out of pity. A month later, I invited him into my office. He stood nervously by the door while I reviewed some reports. "Jason," I said calmly, "I've been reviewing performance records. I noticed you've missed several deadlines." He swallowed hard. "Cassie, please." "I didn't know—" I raised a hand. "You didn't know your wife was capable of more than cooking dinner? You didn't know the woman you called lazy was running your company?" Tears welled in his eyes. But I wasn't there to humiliate him. I wanted closure. "I'm not firing you," I said softly. "I'm freeing you. From me. From this company. From everything you took for granted." He looked shattered as I handed him the resignation papers. As he left the office, I felt an overwhelming peace. The woman who once cried herself to sleep was gone. In her place stood someone who had rediscovered her strength, her value, and her purpose. Months later, Steel Line Freight tripled its profits. I launched a mentorship program for women who had lost confidence after abusive relationships. And every time I looked in the mirror, I saw not a fat, lazy woman, but a survivor, a leader, and a woman who rose from ashes stronger than ever.